The galaxy was quiet that night, too quiet for a living universe. Stars flickered in far-off corners of space like candles in a storm. Whole worlds had gone dark over the last decade, swallowed by the silence of something humanity could not name. The Union of Worlds called it the Great Fading. Captain Rian Vale sat in the viewing chamber of the human battleship Aurora's Edge, watching the dying light of a red star fade into black. His uniform was old, the edges worn. His face was calm, but his eyes told a different story. They carried the weight of too many last stands, too many names lost to memory. He was known by many across the fleet, the man of shadows, the soldier who never broke. Some said he was more machine than man after the cybernetic repairs that kept him alive after the siege of Titan Prime. But those who had served under him knew better. Beneath the scars and steel, Rian Vale was all human, willpower made flesh. As the ship drifted near the dying system, a soft chime echoed. The AI voice of Aurora spoke gently. "Captain, we are receiving a signal, faint but repeating." Rian turned. "Coordinates?" "Sector 19 Gamma, the system once known as Ilarion." "But Captain, that system was declared dead 5 years ago." Rian stood slowly, his eyes narrowing. "Then someone forgot to tell the dead." The crew watched as he gave the order to change course. There was hesitation. Ilarion was cursed, the place where humanity's most advanced colony had vanished. But Rian didn't believe in curses. He believed in unfinished stories. The jump took 10 minutes. When they emerged from slipspace, the screens flickered with static. The planet below was half shattered, a crescent of glowing magma and broken continents. "Radiation minimal," said Lieutenant Kara, her voice steady. "No life signs on surface, and then where's the signal coming from?" "Low orbit," Aurora replied. "An automated satellite." "Wait, correction. The signal has changed." The sound filled the room, a low rhythmic pulse. Then through the static, a voice. Soft, human. "Not all is lost. Dawn will come." Every officer froze. Kara turned toward Rian. "Sir, that voice, I heard it," he said quietly. "Track it. Bring it aboard." Minutes later, a small pod drifted into the hangar. It was covered in silver dust etched with strange energy burns. The moment the technicians opened it, a soft white light spilled out, filling the hangar with warmth. Inside was a woman, or something that looked like one. Her hair shimmered like liquid sunlight, her skin faintly glowing in the dim light. She wasn't dead. Her chest rose and fell slowly, rhythmically. Around her wrist was a small metallic ring pulsing with energy. When Rian stepped closer, the light brightened, almost as if reacting to him. "Status?" he asked. "Stable," said the medic. "Her vitals are strong. But, sir, her biology is human and not human. She's something else." Hours later, the woman awoke in the med bay. The first thing she saw was darkness, not absence of light, but presence of shadow, solid and unmoving. It was Rian standing beside her bed. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice soft and melodic like music played in reverse. "On a human ship. We found you near Ilarion." Her eyes widened, golden, glowing faintly. "Ilarion? It survived?" "Barely," he replied. "Who are you?" "I am Dawn," she said simply. "That is what your people once called me." Rian frowned. "You were part of the Ilarion colony?" "I was part of its heart," she said quietly. "I was made to bring light to a dying world, but then the darkness came." Ryan's expression hardened. "You mean the fading?" She nodded slowly. "It began where I was born." The darkness was not absence of light. It was a living thing. It consumes stars, erases memory, and feeds on fear. We tried to fight it, but light alone was not enough. He studied her carefully. Then what stopped it? Her gaze met his, gentle but steady. "You did," Rian blinked. "Me?" "Not you alone," she said. "Humanity. The first ones who dared to stand in the dark and not run. The ones who fought when even the stars went out. I felt it long ago, something new. Something that could face the void and not fall. That is why I am awake now. Because the darkness is coming again." That night, Rian stood alone in the observation deck, staring into the endless night. The stars seemed dimmer now, as if hiding from something unseen. Aurora spoke softly. "You don't believe in destiny, Captain?" "No," he said. "But I believe in patterns. If she's right and this thing is alive, then we're already too late. Yet you still plan to fight." Rian almost smiled. "That's what we do, isn't it?" Before the AI could answer, alarms flared across the deck. Captain, Kara's voice broke through. Unknown anomaly approaching fast, and it's like a shadow in space. Ryan's heart tightened. All stations battle alert. Wake her up. By the time Dawn entered the command deck, the screens showed it. A black sphere growing larger with every second. Not a ship, not a planet, something beyond shape. The void itself given motion, it's feeding, she whispered. It will devour everything. Ryan turned to her. Then help me stop it. She looked at him, really looked. And for the first time, light met shadow, dawn met darkness. Our powers were made to balance, she said softly. But they were never meant to unite. Then maybe that's what we've been missing, Ryan said. Maybe that's what makes us human. We make impossible things work. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then slowly, she placed her glowing hand over his metal one. The connection sent a pulse through the ship. Lights flared, power surged. Aurora's voice came alive. Captain, energy spike. Unknown source, it's stabilizing our shields. Ryan smiled faintly. Guess we just found our dawn. Outside the ship, the void creature expanded, a sphere of nothingness reaching for them like a living storm. But as the Aurora's edge glowed with light and shadow entwined, the darkness recoiled. It wasn't destroyed, not yet, but it stopped. It hesitated. For the first time in centuries, something had resisted it. In the silence that followed, Ryan turned to Dawn. Looks like you were right. The darkness came back. And you were right too, she replied, her eyes filled with light. We fight. The stars around them flickered again, but this time they flickered brighter. The Aurora's edge drifted in silence after the encounter. The crew worked in hushed voices, their eyes still wide from what they had seen. A living void that swallowed light. And the woman who made their ship glow brighter than a sun. Captain Ryan Vale stood on the command deck, watching the starless space on the main screen. The creature had retreated, but the darkness it left behind still shimmered like a wound. How far has it gone? Ryan asked. Lieutenant Kara replied. It vanished into subspace. No trace left behind. It's like it was never here. Ryan shook his head slowly. No, it was real. Too real. And it's not done. Behind him, Dawn walked quietly. Her presence filled the room with soft light, calming the fear that clung to the crew. She looked fragile, almost too gentle for a world made of war. Yet there was something steady in her golden eyes, something older than stars. You felt it too, she said softly. Ryan nodded. It wasn't attacking, it was searching. Dawn's expression darkened. It hunts for light, minds, memories, entire civilizations. Once it feeds, it leaves only silence. That is what happened to Ilarion. Kara turned sharply. You mean it erased your people? Yes, Dawn whispered. We tried to resist, but we were built from light alone. We burned bright, too bright. The darkness fed on us first. The crew grew quiet. Even Ryan's mechanical hand tightened at his side. So, he said finally, we need something that can't be consumed. Dawn looked at him curiously. And what would that be? He turned toward the vast screen where faint stars flickered beyond the void. Humanity, he said. We've lost 1,000 times, but we always rise again. We don't break. We adapt. For the first time, Dawn smiled. A real human smile. That's why I was sent to find you. Hours later in the ship's research bay, the engineers studied the readings from Dawn's bracelet, the ring that pulsed with living light. The ship's AI Aurora appeared in a flickering holographic form beside Ryan. This technology is beyond us, Aurora said. It carries quantum codes written in light patterns, something that shouldn't exist in our physics. And yet it does, Ryan said. Yes, Aurora continued. But I've detected something else. The ring is drawing power from your neural link, Captain. Ryan frowned. From me? From your implants, Aurora clarified. Your cybernetics use dark matter processors, artificial shadow energy. The ring uses living light. Together they're merging. Ryan realized what that meant. You're saying my darkness and her light are connecting? Exactly, Aurora said. It's creating a field around the ship. Half light, half dark. Balanced. The creature could not cross it. Ryan turned to Dawn. Looks like we make a good team. Dawn looked at him for a moment and her glow brightened slightly. It seems we were meant to. For 3 days they tested the energy field. The Aurora's edge moved through deep space, leaving trails of gold and silver light. Wherever they passed, the stars behind them grew brighter. It was as if the ship was healing the galaxy, but not all were pleased. A transmission came from the Union of Worlds, humanity's high command. The image of Admiral Corrin appeared on the holoscreen, his face grim. "Captain Vale," he said, "you are operating beyond orders. Your last report claimed contact with an unknown anomaly. What's your current situation?" Ryan hesitated, then replied, "We found a survivor from Ilarion, a woman named Dawn. She's human, but not completely. Her technology may be key to stopping the fading." Corrin's eyes narrowed. "You realize what you're saying borders on myth. The fading isn't alive. It's a cosmic decay." "With respect, sir," Ryan said, "you didn't see what we saw. It moves, it hunts, it thinks. And you believe this Dawn can stop it?" Ryan's voice hardened. "I believe we can, together," the Admiral sighed. "You've always been a believer, Vale, but the Union has lost too many ships already. Return to command for debriefing." The screen flickered off. Ryan clenched his fists. "They're afraid. They want to pretend the darkness isn't real." Dawn watched him silently, then said, "Fear blinds even those who lead." He met her eyes. "Then we'll move without permission." "You would defy your own kind?" she asked softly. He smiled faintly. "For the right reason? Always." The next day, Aurora detected something strange. Faint life signals coming from a derelict moon nearby. "Scans show a colony pod," Kara reported. "Old model. Human markings, but it's surrounded by a strange energy field." Dawn stepped closer to the display. "That energy. It's the darkness sleeping. It leaves traps. It wants you to investigate." "Then it's a good thing I don't scare easy," Ryan said. Against all warnings, the Aurora's edge descended. The moon's surface was gray and lifeless. Dust clouds hung in the air like frozen storms. They landed near the half-buried colony pod. Inside, everything was silent. Ryan led the team. Kara, 2 Marines, and Dawn. Their lights cut through the darkness like thin blades. As they entered the main chamber, they saw them. Human bodies frozen in time, untouched by decay. They weren't dead. They were paused. "What is this?" Kara whispered. "Memory traps," Dawn said softly. "The darkness keeps what it devours. Like dreams it refuses to let go of." One of the frozen colonists twitched. Then another. The silence broke as a whisper filled the air. "Help us!" The sound came from nowhere and everywhere. Ryan stepped forward, raising his weapon. "Show yourself." A ripple passed through the air, and from the shadows a shape began to form. It looked human at first, tall, pale, and featureless, but its eyes were endless voids. The voice spoke again. "You brought the light here, why?" "To end you," Ryan said simply. The creature tilted its head. "You cannot end what you are made from." Ryan frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" The shadows thickened, swirling around him. "Darkness lives in every human heart. You carry it with pride, warrior. You use it to kill, to conquer. You are me." For a moment, Ryan froze. The creature's words cut deep. He had always been called the man of shadows. He had lived through war, lost friends, turned himself into something part machine, part human, all for survival. Was he really that different from the void? Dawn stepped forward then, her hand glowing like fire. "No, he carries darkness, but he chooses what to do with it. That's what makes humans different. They make darkness serve the light." Her words echoed, and the shadows hissed in pain. The creature lunged, but before it could reach them, Ryan's cybernetic arm flared with light. The energy field burst from his palm, mixing with Dawn's glow. Together, they unleashed a wave that shattered the illusion. The colonists' frozen forms dissolved, replaced by stars of light that rose into the air. Freed souls, returning to the cosmos. The darkness screamed, then vanished. When silence returned, Ryan lowered his hand, breathing hard. Dawn placed her hand on his shoulder. "You see now?" she said gently. "You were never the enemy. You are balance." He looked at her, the glow reflecting in his steel-gray eyes. "Then maybe that's how we fight this. Not by being light or dark, but both." Back on the ship, Aurora reported new readings. "Captain, the void is reacting. The energy from your blast spread through subspace. The darkness knows where we are." Ryan turned to the crew. "Then it's time we stop running," Dawn nodded. "It will come in full force now." He smiled grimly. "Good, let it. We'll show it what humans do when the night thinks it's won." Outside, stars trembled as something vast began to move in the dark. the coming storm of the final battle. And in that moment, as Aurora's Edge prepared for war, the man of darkness and the woman of dawn stood side by side, shadows and light bound by purpose. Together, they had awakened hope. But the sky was not whole yet. The darkness was coming to finish what it started. The stars began to disappear one by one. Not fade, vanish. Across the galaxy, entire constellations winked out like candles in a storm. The darkness was moving faster now, swallowing everything in its path. Every world that once shone with human light was now silent. On board the Aurora's Edge, alarms flashed red across every deck. "Captain, the void wave has entered our sector," shouted Lieutenant Kara. "Estimated impact in 7 minutes." Captain Rian Vale stood at the command center, calm but focused. His metal arm hummed with faint energy, the glow from Dawn's ring still pulsing along his skin. "How big?" he asked quietly. Aurora's voice came through, smooth but tense. "Bigger than anything we've seen. It's no longer a single creature, and it's an entire swarm. Billions of fragments moving as one." Rian looked at Dawn. She stood beside him, her light flickering faintly. She was growing weaker. He could see it in her eyes. "It feeds on me," she whispered. "Every time I use my power, it finds me. It remembers my light." He placed a hand on her shoulder, and strong, steady. "Then we'll give it something it can't consume." She looked at him curiously. "And what would that be?" "Hope," he said simply. "It's the one thing humanity never loses." The crew moved quickly. Every hand, every mind, every beating heart worked as one. They rerouted the ship's engines, charged the reactors, and prepared the experimental core, a hybrid power source born from Dawn's light and Ryan's dark matter circuits. As the energy built, the Aurora's hull began to shimmer between light and shadow, half glowing gold, half wrapped in night. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Aurora's AI voice filled the bridge. "Captain, the power levels are unstable. If the core ruptures, the explosion will tear the system apart." Ryan smirked faintly. "Then we make sure it tears the right thing apart." Kara turned to him, her voice shaking slightly. "Sir, if we fail—" "We won't," Ryan interrupted. His voice was calm, filled with certainty that pulled everyone back to focus. "We've come too far to let fear do the fighting for us." He turned to Dawn. "Are you ready?" She smiled softly, tired but radiant. "Always." The first wave of darkness hit. It looked like a storm made of night, a wall of pure void stretching across the sky. Ships vanished as it touched them, their lights swallowed instantly. But when it reached the Aurora's Edge, the ship didn't vanish. It burned. The shields flared, half white, half black, colliding with the void. Energy screamed through the hull, shaking every deck. Ryan gripped the command chair. "Hold the line," Kara shouted over the alarms. "Shields at 60%. Divert auxiliary power to the core," Ryan commanded. Aurora's calm voice broke through. "Captain, the field is holding. The darkness cannot breach us." Outside, the ship stood like a star against the void, a single bright spark defying an ocean of nothingness. But the darkness adapted. It began to twist and form, taking shape, growing faces, voices, memories. The black waves around them whispered in 1,000 tones, voices of people they had lost. "Ryan, help us. Come back." The crew froze as familiar voices echoed in their ears. Kara's eyes filled with tears. "That's my brother's voice. He died on Titan Prime." Dawn's light dimmed. "It's trying to break you. It knows your pain." Rian closed his eyes for one long breath. The voice he heard wasn't anyone else's, it was his own. The part of him that blamed himself for every loss. "You failed them," the darkness whispered. "You live in shadow because that's all you've ever brought." Ryan opened his eyes slowly, calm, steady. "Maybe I did fail them, but I'm still here, and as long as I'm here, humanity still fights." He looked to Dawn. "Let's show it what happens when darkness learns to love the light." Dawn stepped beside him. Together, they placed their hands on the ship's core, one made of glowing crystal, the other of black alloy. Light met shadow. A surge of energy erupted, flowing through the entire vessel. The walls vibrated. The stars outside flared to life one by one as if cheering them on. Aurora's voice was faint but proud. "Captain, the core is overloading. You have 30 seconds before detonation." Ryan nodded. "Good, that's all we need." He turned to Dawn. When this is done, you'll have to go. Her eyes widened. Go where? Every blast of this core will burn both light and dark matter. If you stay, it'll destroy you too. She shook her head. Then I stay. I was made to bring light, not run from it. Ryan smiled softly, the first real smile in years. You're stubborn. You taught me that, she whispered. The darkness closed in. The void screamed as if the universe itself were alive and angry. The Aurora's edge rose toward the heart of the storm, engines burning with gold and black fire. The crew held their stations, no fear left in their eyes, only purpose. Ryan and Dawn stood together at the core, hands still joined. The energy reached critical. Aurora's last words echoed across the intercom. For what it's worth, Captain, it has been an honor. Likewise, Ryan said quietly. Then he looked at Dawn. Ready? She smiled, eyes glowing brighter than a sun. Always. And they activated the core. The explosion was silent. No sound, only light. It expanded outward in a perfect sphere, white and black swirling together, not destroying, but cleansing. Wherever it passed, the darkness burned away, leaving behind new stars. Newborn suns scattered across the empty void, entire sectors reignited. Worlds that had been silent for centuries glowed again. The galaxy woke up, and in the center of it all, where Aurora's edge had been, there was only light. Days later, across the galaxy, new signals appeared.
Not human.
Not alien. Something new. A voice echoed through the cosmos, carried on radio waves, light particles, and dreams. Do not fear the dark. It is half of what makes the sky whole. People listened. They looked up at the stars and wept. The union of worlds confirmed that a massive energy surge had reignited nearly 40% of the dead systems. They called it the rebirth wave. No wreckage of the Aurora's edge was ever found. But in the heart of the reborn nebula, telescopes caught a strange image. Two lights, one gold and one silver, orbiting each other like twin stars. Scientists called it coincidence. The people called it faith epilogue years past. Humanity rebuilt. The new colonies grew strong again, spreading across the stars with courage and wisdom learned from the past. They built a memorial on Titan Prime, a monument of glass and steel that shimmered with both light and shadow. On its base were words engraved in simple letters. He was darkness and she was dawn. Together, they made the sky whole. Every year, ships would fly by, their engines flashing once. A salute to the captain who taught them that light and darkness weren't enemies, but partners in creation. And sometimes, on the quiet nights, pilots swore they saw two figures in the starlight, a man in shadow and a woman of golden glow, watching over the edge of the galaxy. Wherever humanity went, they followed, silent guardians of balance forever holding the sky together.